Hi again, John Wilkinson and History Made Easier. I've talked about factors in the Eastern Bloc that really got people down and led to the collapse of the Soviet Union in the Eastern Bloc. In this video, I want to talk about problems at the heart of the communist system in the Soviet Union. We hand over power to governments really for three basic reasons. We expect them to protect us from the bad guys, whether those bad guys are criminals or invading armies. We expect our government to protect us. We expect our government to provide a strong economy so that we can have a good life. And we expect our government to provide, and it comes from that strong economy, welfare provisions for when we fall on hard times, whether it's sickness or unemployment. So we expect these basic things from our government. Well, let's take a look at what the communist government is providing in the Soviet Union. Well, the bad guys are the communist government. They are the people that are oppressing the population. They are the people who are spying on them, arresting them in the early hours of the morning, that knock on the door that everybody was terrified of hearing. And there is also, and it's always there in the Soviet Union, and it was there in the Tsarist regime as well, there was this frustrated nationalism that I talk about in another video, that the Soviet Union was just as much an imperial power as the Tsarist regime was. So we have a government that isn't seeming to protect its people. It is the bad guy. So what about the strong economy? Well, I had a girlfriend who, as a teacher, was on a school trip in East Germany. And she was taking photographs and she had her camera taken off her. And this was the old days of film, and the film was ripped out of the camera. And then the camera was handed back. What was she taking photographs of? Empty shelves in the shops. And that is not the sign of a healthy economy. Empty shelves in the shops. The Soviet Union was struggling to provide even basic goods for its people, never mind luxuries. And then we have really the goods it was producing were of a very poor quality. Televisions had a reputation for bursting into flames, and a lot of house fires were caused by televisions. There was a car in Eastern Europe, I think it was made in East Germany, that was so bad it became a cult figure to buy, it became a cult icon, and people wanted to buy one when the Cold War was over. It was known as the Trabi, the shabby Trabi, and it was so badly made. It was so basic. It was just a laughing stock, but it became cool. So they weren't providing enough goods, and the goods they were providing were of a pretty poor quality. And so was their healthcare. Yes, the constitution of the Soviet Union guaranteed the right to work, but you'd come home to a very, very poor, badly built, badly maintained block of flats somewhere in the suburbs of whatever city you live in. Your health provision was not what it was in the West. And so, the economy wasn't providing the kind of welfare and basic requirements for a decent living. And the other thing that won't get emphasized really in books, but I think it's important, the Soviet Union was not providing joy to its people. And I love my music, so I will go to music as an example. Look, the West got rock and roll with Elvis Presley and Bo Diddley and what have you in the 50s. It had the Beatles and the Stones in the 60s. The 70s gave us heavy metal, glam rock, punk. None of that is going down in the Soviet Union or in the Eastern Bloc countries. They get a smattering of it. You can't block it entirely. But they don't live it like we were doing in the West. And so it may seem a trivial thing, but my goodness, it's important. There was not enough joy in life. And I think you can make a point of that in answering the right kind of question in your exam. It's important. And so, the Soviet Union's inherent problems with its whole political system contributed to what was we called people power, people rising up against what was at least the second most powerful regime in the world. All that nuclear technology, all that conventional military power that they had. And it was people power that brought them down. I still think that is the focus of another video. I think containment played its part, but it was people power inside the Soviet Union, rippling out to the rest of the Eastern Bloc, that brought the end of the Soviet Union, brought the end of that Eastern Bloc controlled by the Soviet Union, and brought an end to the Cold War. So as always, I thank you for listening, and I remind you to check out my History Made Easier website. Cheers.